making her pro debut at Invicta FC 55 is a flyweight out of Michigan who very well may have one of the crispest striking I've seen on the regional scene so far. She's the Ice Queen, Fallon Johnson. How's it going today, Fallon?
It's good. How are you, Zach?
Can't complain. It's going good. We got Invicta back now. It leads right into my first question, too. Like, the end of last year, we saw a video of you and Zoe announcing that you signed with Invicta. It's now June.
Yeah.
And, like, we finally have a fight. Not only, like, on my end, it was like, is Invicta coming back? Are they gone? Where's the status? And then everyone, you kind of reach out, you'd hear rumors through the grapevine, essentially. How have things been on your end as an Invicta-signed fighter?
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely waiting a little bit, and I don't know if you saw yesterday, but they had some distribution deals in the works, so we're now going to be broadcast on CBS Sports, which is really exciting and was definitely well worth the wait. So we've been training hard and just waiting to have the date. So
yeah, it's been fun on the fan side to have the YouTube access because then everyone can watch.
Yeah,
but I don't know how far back your like MMA fandom goes, but like CBS was like the launching pad for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Elite XC, Strike Force, which like when I saw the CBS one, it was like a welcome home in a way for like Shannon and Invicta because Shannon was part of the Strike Force and all that fun stuff. So, but yeah, we finally got I think everything worked out perfectly as well. I had interviews that we actually can talk about how people are going to watch it and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
But, in your debut, you do have Violeta Mendoza. I probably butchered both of that. She made her debut under, the Combate Global about a year ago. She's now making her Invicta debut as well. Her AMI career has been more of the tournament structure, be it IMAF or I think it was at the Super Cup down in Mexico. What have you seen from her? And, anything that stand out that excites you without giving away, like, your game plan?
Yeah, I've watched her tape. She definitely seems like she's going to be a good striker. I think it'll be a fun fight, but, I mean, I'm coming to dominate. So I'm just focused really on my own game plan and the ways I can win the fight. And I definitely see a lot of options there.
Fantastic. And I had the chance this week to kind of go through and watch your entire amateur career. I think I missed one fight. That's your Gamma bout, which we don't need to talk about that one. That one didn't happen. And one thing, two things that really stood out were I kind of mentioned like your striking is very crisp, but you're not a fish out of water when it goes to the ground either. You and your team, and building on to that, I should say, is actually like you and your team also did your amateur career correctly. A lot of people kind of stay home. They kind of stay with like a hometown promotion where they get kind of favorable fights. I came across you personally, as well as Ashley, when you guys did like the Art of War show on like a week's notice.
Yeah.
And I saw the article from I think it was My MMA News, who even said like your coach kind of reached out and was like, no, I want my fighters to like experience like being the B-side, being, enemy territory. And it has shown, especially in your career. And, you even went down south to what I call the Wild West. They don't really have like amateur rules where like, as you saw in PA, like we'll put shin guards on you and kind of like handicap the fight so that you get experience, but it's a learning curve. What have you learned from like all the different territories you fought in your amateur career?
Yeah, I've definitely loved that we travel. I kind of always wanted to have one at home because I know I have a lot of fans nearby that always wanted to come see one, and none of those have really panned out. But it's been cool. It makes it like really comfortable that we're traveling for this fight, and it's just like any other, like we know we're getting there, how we'll run the weight cut, how we'll go about doing everything. So that makes it fun. And yeah, being used to like being seen as the underdog, like I've walked into pretty much everyone's home territory and not necessarily been booed coming out, but definitely like heard a lot louder cheers for the other side. And like, it just is part of the game. And it makes me excited to be going somewhere new every time.
Yeah, I always say, if you can come into Philly as the outside fighter, get a win and leave with a smile, like there's really no debate. And you came in, you fought an NPR endurance girl who is technically like a local gym and all that fun stuff. And phenomenal performance. I actually loved your coach did a commentary dib of it, and that actually added to it too. I want more coaches to do that as well. Like review it publicly. But I said two things, and the other thing that stood out to me is calculated. I kind of mentioned that your striking is crisp, but like nothing you do, at least through your amateur career so far, is wasted. Be it your timing your strikes, your timing your defense, grappling, and the whole shebang essentially. Is doing the research though, I realized too, like you grew up as a dancer. Do you think a lot of that came from there, where like, you know, studying the routines and the steps that have involved to like a full, you know, recital performance extent? Do you think that translated into your MMA career at all?
Yeah, I think when I started, like I studied a lot of kickboxing starting out. So I think I focused a lot on like the footwork and the movement side of it. And it definitely helps me, like I can visualize and like blend things together, I think easier than the average person. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty well rounded. I've always done kickboxing and I used to do jujitsu like completely separately and competed a lot in jujitsu. And then the last couple of years have just been really blending everything together. So I definitely focus on blending my skill sets and going from stand up to the ground and finding those entries and everything.
Like I said, I watched your amateur career this whole week essentially, and it is like watching a recital. Like it looks like even when things like misstep, like you flew right into the next move. And I want to kind of go back to the beginning a little bit, because you kind of just touched the fact that you you did kickboxing and jujitsu.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious, like what got you to do that transition from like say dancing into that, or that overlap at one point?
Yeah, I went to college in New York for dance and was a dance major. And like one of my first like college jobs, I like did a front desk job at a Krav Maga place. So I like saw some classes, took a couple here and there, but nothing like too seriously. And then when I graduated, I was like figuring out what to do for work and started coaching kickboxing, like big fitness classes, 80 people in the room, and just like fell in love with it. And it just kind of took off from there. Like I fell in love with the sport and started training myself a lot more seriously and got into jujitsu and just kept the ball rolling.
Next move now is Invicta. It's a name that even the casuals tend to know. Like if I say like an art of war, you can Google it, you're going to find the book. If you say conflict MMA, you're not going to really notice it either. Invicta, has that following. Plus, you add in the CBS, kind of like how you mentioned and how it was announced yesterday. Has there been even more interest in this? Because not only is it your pro debut, it's with a bigger organization. Now it's even on, like a bigger platform than like a YouTube and all that too. Has there been a lot more like support you're coming your way for this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think all throughout my career, like from each fight, like every time, I think I've gained a little bit more and more support behind it. But just for me personally, like I remember watching all like the Ultimate Fighter seasons, and it was like almost every girl was like from Invicta World Champ, and so it was just like always a big name in the back of my head. So to be debuting like my pro debut for Invicta is a huge step and something I definitely like dreamed about for the last couple of years. So
yeah, I have a tab right next to this tab of all the Invicta bantamweight champions. Every single champion besides the current one, because she won it and has been kind of shelved for past couple months, have gone on to all but one have gone to UFC. One has gone to PFL.
Yeah.
So it's one of those like things where like if you were a male fighter, we could say the same if you went to like an LFA and all that. But Invicta is the heart and soul of women's MMA. I mean, this lady right here is on the card with you, and that fight pretty much helped probably establish that. And more importantly, too, another card, another teammate with you as well. I'm speaking with Zoe tomorrow, but how great is it also like be making your pro debut like alongside someone as well, instead of just like, hey, it's me, but it's now like a team situation as well. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's awesome. Me and Zoe have been training together for the past couple years and been with each other every step of the way. So the fact that we were both able to get on this first card back for Invicta and we'll be making the trip together, going through everything together, is going to be really great. Nice. And you saw in Philly, like we love traveling with the team and like having a little extra support there. Like it'll be a great time.
Yeah, it's always the thing with like especially on the regional side. I know Invicta's like regional plus. It's in between. It's the growing ground there. But on the regional, you usually have like one corner, maybe two. Then you might have one or two teammates who make the drive out there as support, because as you can attest, like weight cutting sucks. It helps to have someone suffer with you and all that too. But lastly, I wanted to leave it to you. I've gone through. I watched your career. I can't expect a lot of people to do the same thing, even though it's all on YouTube. A quick search gives 80%, 90% of your career. What should people be looking forward to as you like set up the return of Invicta? Because I think it's like Zoe then you. So like, how would you sell yourself to the general populace?
Yeah, I'll be opening up the card. I'm really excited. I'm gonna come out. You've seen some of my like past fights and stuff, but I've been developing nonstop since every single one. So I'm coming out violent as ever, ready to put on a show. So it'll be a great fight.
Awesome. And then last one, what I usually do when I end these interviews, I pass the mic to you. As original fighter, someone who's developing your game and growing the sport itself too. Typically, you have a handful of sponsors that help make things a little easier. And on top of sponsors, you have friends, family. Everyone's been supportive in one way or another. I like to pass the mic to you to kind of give them the shout out they deserve, and then we'll wrap it up and push one more time for people to watch on the 28th.
Definitely. Thank you to my sponsors that have been with me like throughout my career. King Steel and Aaron Cantrell Fitness. Broadstone Homes is also a big sponsor. So if you need anything from any of those companies, definitely reach out. All my friends, all my family, all the supporters that have been with me along the way. Thank you guys so much. And I'm excited to put on a show for all of you on June 28th.
Fantastic. It's June 28th, CBS Sports, I believe. Yep. I think the wording was weird, but I'm pretty sure you kind of just confirmed it there too. It's been a while since I watched fights on CBS Sports, so it's a nice little readjustment. But I always like the fact that, when you see a fighter like yourself coming out of a gym that people know, but they don't know. This is the one that I'm really excited for. I reached out because pro debut is one thing, pro debut on an Invicta card is another. But then as I started feeding into it, I was like, oh, I know a lot more about your gym than I thought. But it's one of those gyms where you're not a Longo or anyone loud and obnoxious like a goat shed. So it's really nice. I look forward to seeing you, Zoe, and the whole rest of the card. It's great to have Invicta back, and it's great to have you on to help push the first card in the back. So definitely. Thank you for your time. And again, like everyone, June 28th, I'll post it, and all the links will be below for like a schedule and all that too. Thank you for your time. And best of luck.
Thanks for having me on. Thank you.